Once again, I've just been editing a Tedium Unlimited after a long period of time, and just completed the dog door, and things have happened on that front since then, but that's not what I'm talking to you about today. Today, I realized that in the last one, I don't think I even mentioned my teeth at all. And that has been an epic journey. So just because it's been a long time and thing, I'm just gonna go over the 30-second recap version to catch you up to speed so that you know what's going wrong now. All right, so letlet's start. When done, it's perfect, but it like it's the I was wrong. For the first few days, it did get a little better. You know, it's not right. That's not right. But, you know, I thought, well, I'll get used to it and then it'll be fine, because they did every measurement they could. They were biting on ink and blocks and measuring and checking the closure and seeing if things bit, and everything in my mouth was closing down really well. In fact, the dentist said, you've got extremely good closure on your teeth. Which was backed up by another dentist later on, and I'll explain that in a bit. But, you know, it still bothered me. I said, you know, the mind is really good at this. You can detect a paper's width in there, and you may adjust, but, you know, I had to go back in anyway a little bit later on. So we'll use it. And then I agreed that based on the way the temper had been, that it would be fine. So we did that. And for, you know, a while it was getting better, but it wasn't getting better as fast as I would have liked to have gotten better. And then Wednesday morning last week, I woke up and it hurt a bit worse. It ached a bit. And I thought, I don't like that. I don't like that. But I thought, well, we'll just get through it. I took a Advil and it seemed to go away. But it never, you know, if the Advil wore off, then it would come back. And I thought, that's not good. Well, I got to go see I'm going to be seeing the dentist tomorrow, as it happens. Today's tomorrow, not then's tomorrow. That was last week's next week. And I thought, well, you know, I'll tough it out. I woke up Thursday morning in quite a bit of pain. And, well, this is not good. I guess I can make it through. And I had a podcast to do that morning, and by the time I was done with the podcast, it was really hurting. I think it was probably one of my poorer podcasts, because my brain was not on it. But so I called the dentist's office, and they're like, well, you know, your doctor is not in today, and he won't be back in the office until Tuesday. And I'm like, great. I said, but this is, you know, hurting me quite a lot. And they said, you know what we're going to do? Hold on, let me call the dentist. So they called the dentist and told him what was going on, and he got back to them and said, it sounds like you're going to need a root canal. You may have an infection in there. The crack may have gotten worse. So we're going to refer you to an endodontic surgeon who will be able to take a look at that real quick and diagnose it and see to it that you aren't in pain. Well, the endodontic surgeon called me up and said, yeah, we can see you. When would you like to come in? Can I come in now? I was in a lot of pain and getting worse. And they're like, yeah, we can get you in Tuesday. I guess I can tough it out till it was a lot. It really was. It was a lot. And so I'm like, all right, fine. I'm going to take Tuesday. Anyway, my dentist called me. Actually, I reached a point where I was in pain and I was just lying on the floor. My wife came home, and so she called the dentist and said, you know, he's in a lot of pain. And so they got the dentist to call my wife, and he talked with her, and he said, all right, let me see what I can do. I'm not gonna let him be in pain all weekend. Now, let's see what we can do here. So he called back to the dentist's office that made my appointment on Tuesday, and they called me up and said, oh, I'm sorry, you know, we didn't realize how bad it was. We can get you in tomorrow. Will that work? And I'm like, anything, I'll take it, I'm taking it. It was just, I didn't know I was gonna make it through the night, but you know, you just do what you have to do, right? So after that, my dentist called my wife again a little bit later, check, and said, you know, she said, yeah, they can get him in tomorrow. And he's like, tomorrow? No, hold on. And then he got off the phone, and then he called her back about 20 minutes later and said, can you get to this dental office right now? And she said, yeah, we can do it. So they took me down, and that's how much advance warning I had at that point, is they put me in the car, and I went down and had a root canal. Which I will tell you right now, you know how you see on TV shows and they say, well, where do you rate this on the scale of pain, from a little feather tickling you to root canal, right? This is not the worst pain. Root canal wasn't that bad. Tedious, yes, an hour with your mouth jammed open with a dam in there and a bib, or a dam, and the guy working on you with a microscope. That's uncomfortable, but you're numbed up. It was the pain prior to that. It's the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, I'm sure you can experience worse pain. I don't want to. It was terrible. It was just absolutely agonizingly terrible. I can completely understand why people off themselves when they're in extreme chronic pain. Was nowhere in that zone for myself, but I mean, I thought, wow, if you lived through this a week, you'd do yourself. You would. It was terrible. So I had the root canal, and through this past weekend, I'm on some fairly hefty pain medication, and antibiotics, and which reminds me, I need to take one of my antibiotics because I had lunch, and it's getting better. But I have to go back I have to go into my dentist tomorrow for a cleaning, because that's what I was supposed to go back for anyway, because I'm overdue for cleaning. And then next week I have to go back in for more surgery, because apparently what they do is, if you don't know what a root canal is, I had a completely wrong idea what a root canal is, but they drill a hole in your tooth from above, and then they go down into the roots, and they bore them out, and then they put goop in there to, well, first they auger them out to get the nerves out, and then they pour goop in there to kill anything left, and then they seal it up, and they leave it there for a couple weeks, and then after that, then they go in and take that temporary filling off, go back in again, get that goop out, put more goop in. I'm not sure what they're going to do at that point, and then they're going to seal it up permanently, and that's all through that crown, which is still there. So, yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot of fun, frankly, but I don't. Just get it done with. I was ready for them. Just pull the tooth. I don't care. It's like, it was not fun. It was definitely not fun. And more not fun to come. But getting better. Have I mentioned that I'm having to have work done on the pool? I can't remember. I can't remember what we've gone over. But I think I talked to you. Yeah, I did. I talked to you about the wiring that was running under the ground, and how it appeared to be completely out of conduit, which is right, but it wasn't. So we can talk about that here in a minute. But anyway, I had to have the filter replaced because it had been cracked, and back there is the new filter, and they did that last week, and then the contractor for the electrical came out and did the electrical today, and I'm very impressed with the electrical contractor. Which is not to say I'm not impressed with the guy who did the pool filter. I think he's done a good job. I have a question that the supervisor is going to check out. But I'm very impressed with the electrical guys. So you have to understand there's a timer over there on the house that is 110. So that's a single leg of electrical and a neutral. And the reason that it's 110 is because the pump is 110. Most pool pumps are 220. That's 2 legs, no neutral. 2 separate circuits. And originally it had apparently been wired for 2 legs, but well, and there also used to be a pool light. There is a pool light physically in there, but it's long dead, and the wiring has been yanked out. But it would have gone up here to this junction box as well. And so the guys who did the electrical, not only did they retrench it, and we found conduit, the old conduit here, and it is rusted away. Now, it's not supposed to rust away, but the reason it's rusted away is because it's old, because it wasn't buried deep enough, and because it wasn't covered in tape like you're supposed to do if you can't bury it 18 inches down. And the point is, if you're 18 inches down, it doesn't get as wet. All right, but if it's too near the surface, it will rust and corrode. So the new stuff is not deep. Okay, it's probably 6 inches down, but it's fully coated along the way, so it should last many, many yarns. But what they did, and I did ask, but when I asked them, they said yes, no, we were going to do that. So, and they did, which is the important part. They wired it up 110, but they also pulled the wire for it to be 220 in the future. So if I ever change out that pump and the new pump's 220, it's already wired and the wire is tight, so they don't have to pull through the conduit to do it. And they wired up another leg for the light, so that if I get the light fixed, there will be electricity out here for it. And they went further. They installed a switch for the light, even though it's not hooked up. They installed a switch for the filter pump out here, so it makes it easier to do the backwash, which I was expecting that. And they installed a GFI outlet out here, which we've never had power this far out in the yard, which will be enormously helpful. And they also installed this black Intermatic junction box. Intermatic makes pool timers and stuff, so I'm not sure what it's for. I'm tempted to pop it open and take a look. But anyway, apart from the fact that the ground is very soft, where they dug it up and filled it back in, and I fully expect, I'm tramping on it now, and I fully expect Ollie to start digging into it, which is a problem. I am really, really impressed. And they pulled a lot of the old conduit out of the ground, but it's so low and it's so rotting, I'm gonna pull the rest of it out. And big garbage week is next week, so that can go along with a bunch of vegetation that has been culled. But yeah, no, I'm very, very pleased with the electrical work. And if we just resolve this one issue with the filter, which is, what is the issue with the filter? Well, the issue is that no matter how many times I vent it, there's air coming out of that return line. And when you turn it off, when the timer kicks off, you can hear it draining out of the filter. And typically don't do that unless there's a seal loose somewhere. And I don't think a seal in the return line would do that. So I'm thinking something's not tight. I don't think it's anything broken. I think maybe something hasn't been tightened down all the way. But anyway, the supervisor is going to come out and take a look at that, because there are other ways that air could get in the line, that have nothing to do with the work they did. Because there's a lot of stuff that could be broken underground. The return line could have a leak in it. The inlet line could have a leak in it. We don't know for sure. But we'll see. That repair might have to wait. If that is a repair that's not part of the filter, that may have to wait until weather is better. It doesn't really impede the use of the pool. So all is good. All is good. You guys want to go back in? Want to go in? Do you 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 want to go in? Here it is. In. You can go in. All you have to do. No. Well, the dog door is in place there. And we have demonstrated definitively that both Bumper and Ollie can open that door and pass through it at will. The problem is, Ollie passes through that door at will. He's fine with it. He likes the idea. He spends a lot more time outside now, but he likes that. So, you know, as long as he can come in if he feels overheated, I'm good with that. Bumper, on the other hand, just will not go through that door without some sort of impetus, like Mom taking his food outside, then psh, boom, he's out the door. Or Mom having him outside and serving his food in here, boom, he's in the door. But just typically if I try to call him through, I can't, or she just tries to call him through. Unless you get him in the mood, then he's going back and forth a few times and you think it's all good, and then 10 minutes later, he literally feels like he's waiting for permission. He'll sit at the door, he'll be like, am I allowed to come in? It's like, that's not what this is for. This is so that you can come and go. Let's see if we can get him to come in. Hey guys, come on in. Bumper. Ollie. Oh, good boy. What a good boy. There's the big dog too. Good boys. Oh, look at you. You came in. You came in. You came in. Look at you. You came in. What a good boy. Okay, that was the easiest ever to get him to come in the door. That was easy. I mean, I still had to call him because you could tell he was outside and he was like, can I go in? But, all right. Well, that's something. Maybe, still got at least a month for them to decide if Ollie's already gone back out. Bumper's like, why would I want to go outside? People are inside.